10 years ago, if you told me you could buy affordable, portable, high-resolution DACs in 2024, I'd most probably tell you to jump off a bridge or just go live in a damp sock somewhere. But here we are today. These are well put together DAC portable amps and they sound terrific. But before I get into how they sound, let's speak about how these are built. I think both of them are put together really well, but the main differences are when it comes to the iFi, it does have a very premium finish with a powder coated finish they've chosen to put on the terminations on either side where the DAC is, as well as where the USB-C cable is. The cable connecting these two terminations is a braided cable, so it can give you the sense of being able to give way in time, but I've had this for quite some time now. Now, no doubt I am quite careful with it, but it does give you a sense that it can get tugged and it may snap, but it's not happened to me just yet. Moving on to the ddHiFi DAC, it is well put together. The terminations do have metallic finishes and it has a knurled finish as well, so it's very grippy and does feel premium because of this. One side does have the USB-C cable and the other side does have the 3.5mm termination. The cable in particular is well guarded. It is wrapped up very well in a plastic material, so it does feel quite tough. In fact, it does feel tougher than the iFi GoLinks cable. There is an extra plastic sleeve within the termination that's holding this cable a little tighter, so I do suspect this to be much tougher than the iFi, especially if it were to get accidentally snagged. What I do like about the iFi is that it does have a little LED light on the section that holds the DAC and amp chip, and this LED light does change depending on what kind of audio it's decoding. Another nice thing about it is that whenever it is doing work, you can feel it warming up. So the fact that it's warming up does connect me to some audio gear. In fact, older equipment or very powerful equipment does tend to heat up or warm up whenever you're using it, and it is a nice touch. It's a small thing like this that I really appreciate. The ddHiFi, on the other hand, does not have an LED light to tell you what it's decoding, and it doesn't warm up as well whenever you're listening to music. When it comes to its sound, both of these can decode up to 384 by 32 bits. So you can expect to decode up to studio quality sound. Now the thing is, most of the stuff that's available is still 96 kilohertz by say even 24 bits, but I'd say 192, 24 is fine, but very rarely will you even get something that's that high a refresh and bitrate. So I think it's safe to say that this is reasonably future-proof. When it comes to the volume output, it might seem similar on paper because the iFi does push out 70 milliwatts at 32 ohms, whereas the ddHiFi does push out 65 milliwatts at 32 ohms. Now, like I said, on paper, it might only seem like a 5-watt difference, but when you are listening to sensitive IEMs, there is a considerable difference. So I have tested these out on the Truthia Holers, the SimGot EM6L and the SimGot EA1000, and the EA1000 is the most sensitive of all these IEMs, and there is definitely quite a bump when you have both of these on the same volume output with the same device. Jumping over between these two DACs, the iFi is definitely the louder one. It is the more powerful one. So if you do need a little more power, even though it says it's just 5 watts more, it does make a difference. When it comes to the high frequencies, the most distinct thing about how both of these perform is particularly in how that specific area resonates, in the sense, if you're listening to certain instruments that carry a certain amount of reverb or crispness or detail, this is carried over a little bit better with the iFi in particular. The ddHiFi isn't as crisp or detailed. It is things like reverb after a certain instrument is played, or if it's played in a certain hall, that carry over, the decay is not carried over as enthusiastically as the iFi is. All in all, in this range, the iFi is a little crisper. It is a little bit better detailed than the ddHiFi. So if you're a stickler for the finer nuances in the high frequencies, there is a slight difference between these two when it comes to this range in particular. And when it comes to the mid frequencies, the iFi makes it very clear that it is a little bit recessed than the ddHiFi in this range, because the ddHiFi does have a lot more presence in the vocal range in particular. So it does seem as if it's boosted more than the iFi, but both of these perform relatively well when it comes to its overall detail recovery. So everything is very clear. The separation is good between vocal and instruments over here for certain, but there is a pull down in the iFi for certain. So if you do like more forward vocals, if you do like a more emphatic mid-range, be it in anything instrumental from guitars to whatever. So it depends on what kind of genres you're listening to, because there is a definite boost, or should I say more of a presence in the ddHiFi when it comes to the mid-range. Now, both do carry a good amount of texture when it comes to vocals in particular, but I'd say both are kind of similar when it comes to the overall naturality of this overall range. Both of them do it well. It's just that the most noticeable thing you'll be able to see is the accentuation with the ddHiFi in the mid-range and the slight recess with the iFi compared to its highs and bass for certain. Lower frequencies on both these DAC amps is performed well, but they do have slightly different flavors or coloring, should I say, because on the iFi in particular, it's not really lacking, it's more than adequate. It's got kind of a flatter response in the upper to mid bass region, but the sub bass region has a good amount of heft. It is a little more enthusiastic about giving lower rumbles, or just generally the lower frequency is better rounded. It is a little more enthusiastic about giving you that frequency compared to its mid and upper range. Then when you go on to the ddHiFi, it's like the sub frequencies weren't as important as the mid and upper bass regions in particular, because it is a little more prominent with kick drums or anything that exists in that region. So if you are listening to, I'd say, electronic music or things that have more not so natural bass sounds that go really subsonic, the iFi makes more sense. Whereas the ddHiFi is more fun in this range. It has more enthusiasm if you're listening to more natural instruments. So both of these do have a slightly different coloring for certain. So overall, on a sound front, I do like how both of these sound. In fact, they are different people. Technically, they are different characters. They have different things that make them their own. So the iFi I do like, especially whenever I'm listening to, well, if I want a flatter response in music. It is nice and rich in the highs, but it's sort of mellow in the mids to upper and mid bass. So jazz, blues, stuff like that sounds absolutely terrific. Even some rock music for that matter, with all of the IEMs that I tested with. Like I said, I tested it with the Trutehola, the EM6L from SimGod, and the EA1000 from SimGod, and it's very enjoyable with all of these earphones. Now, no doubt, you do get a little more detail, or should I say significantly more detail, with the higher end IEMs that you go to, because stuff in the 2000 rupee range is good. It is as good as it is, but it is limited in overall detail recovery. So these IEMs do open up with these DACs, depending on how expensive they are and how much effort has gone into making them, of course. So the iFi is great for that kind of music. And when you move over to the ddHiFi, I think the ddHiFi is one of it's inoffensive. It's not going to really bother very many people with how it delivers its overall music. In fact, it's very enjoyable with every genre of music. I didn't find myself cringing at anything with either of these DACs. In fact, like I mentioned in my opening intro, the fact that both of these even exist is unbelievable, because 10 years ago this wouldn't have been possible. Everything cost about an arm and a leg when it came to anything hi-fi or audiophile related. So the fact that these even exist is really unbelievable. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that both of these DACs do sound terrific independently. Now, when I did my in-depth reviews on them, I was testing them against themselves. So on an absolutely independent level, they sound terrific. But when you do the A and B testing, so I literally had both of them plugged into my computer, and I was swapping between each DAC while doing this A/B testing. And very honestly, only if you have these two back to back can you tell the difference, and only if you do the A/B testing back to back can you see the minor differences between these two. Honestly, it got me wondering, if I was doing a blind test, would I even be able to tell the difference? But this was really me sitting down and listening, because when I sat for the first 5 minutes, I really couldn't tell much of a difference. So this was me sitting for, I think I sat for a good 45 minutes to an hour, just sitting and really listening and trying to absorb how each of these DAC amps sounded with each set of IEMs. And it's very clear that there are differences when you sit and test them on this front. So of course, this information is all for you. If you are interested in buying these, they are available, and I think they're both super value for money. And coming to how much they cost, well, at the time of recording this video, the ddHiFi does have a maximum retail price of 2,999, but you can make this yours for 1,999 when it is available and not out of stock, because I think a lot of people are really loving this and buying it. The iFi Go Link does have a maximum retail price of 5,999, whereas you can make it yours for just 3,999. In terms of value for money, I think they're both great. The only thing that would make me a little uncomfortable with the iFi is that braided cable, because it definitely doesn't look as solid as the ddHiFi. In fact, let me just show it to you here. This is the difference between the two. So in fact, when I was when I plugged these into my computer, they were sitting much like this, so you can tell which one seems like the stronger one, you know. So this I think would be more long term. If you pick up the iFi, you will have to be very particular about how you keep it. In fact, somebody saw me packing the EA1000s and the iFi the other day in a carry case, and they couldn't believe that I was so particular about it. But if you have this, you have to be careful with it. Whereas the ddHiFi, you don't have to think about it. I think you can toss it and throw it. If it gets snagged, it's not going to come apart very easily. So, of course, both of them I'd say are terrific value for money, but the ddHiFi does have an edge over it because of how well it's been put together. The overall build, the design choice of having that really tough cable does set it apart from the iFi. So I'd say only if you're an absolute stickler for how it sounds and you prefer how the iFi sounds or the ddHiFi, I'd say you can decide which one you want to go for. But again, keep in mind, living with it means you have to keep the iFi a little more carefully, whereas the ddHiFi you can be a little more casual with. So there you have it. I hope you found this video helpful and informative, and I hope that I've helped you make some sort of purchase decision. If you would like to help support the channel, I'm sure you know exactly how to. But of course, thank you for tuning into Paul's POV for some sound advice.